It is June 7th, 2019, and welcome to another Brooklyn Baritone podcast. Fortune favors the prepared mind. That was said by Louis Pasteur. He's a French chemist and biologist, and he was made more famous by the process he came up by his namesake, pasteurization. His name, Louis Pasteur, where he basically figured that microbes and everything that help make food rot, he could heat them up and then cool it down, and that got rid of a lot of the microbes. That's why, a lot of milk you see in the supermarkets has a pasteurization, so it could last a little bit longer. He also did a lot of other things too as well. But we're going to link what he said to what I'm going to talk about today. Preparation. Fortune favors the prepared mind. And that statement goes for so many things, and it is so true. Where so many things that we could have done better if we were more prepared, things that we could still be doing better if we were prepared. And I'm going to always definitely reflect about me, because this is a lot of my own experiences that I like to teach and share. And also I know other people go through it too. Preparation. I've gone for a little bit, for over a week, without putting out a weekly podcast. Mind you, because it's not for a lack of resources, it's actually preparing. And I told myself I'm going to have to be consistent with putting out content. And I have the content, have the resources. It just so happened I didn't prepare myself. We have like a few guests over, and we are in beautiful, beautiful Brooklyn. So my time and certain spaces that I had was kind of limited, and also my energy that I noticed was limited too. But that didn't mean that I could not have prepared to record in my timely manner every week. Preparation is something that we just need to take even just a little bit of time, 5 minutes, to bring together in our heads, so that we could also materialize it, so that we can, go forward and make something tangible, going back to tangibility, making something tangible in my tangible podcast. We need time to put it together in our head so that we at least have some kind of order. So when it's time to go, we can go without having to go and waste more time and waste more gas, waste more resources, waste more energy. And you could have gotten something done in half the time that you would have without being, properly planned for. Going back to my boot camp days, my TI training instructor, he said, chances are, if you could have gotten something right the second or third or even fourth time around, you could have gotten it right the first time around. And I still remember that. There's certain things you're going to remember from certain experiences of certain people, but I don't remember much else that he said. Maybe dribs and drabs, bits and pieces, but that's one thing that resonated. Chances are you could have gotten something right the first time around had you taken the time to look at it, to focus, and to prepare yourself and other resources that you have made available to you. You could have seen if you could have gotten it done at all to even try to go forward with that venture. You could have seen if you could have found a cheaper way to do things. You could have found a more efficient way to do things. And most of us do this because we kind of do a fly by the seat of your pants kind of approach with things. Because something has to be done now, And most of us get agitated either from our own selves or by other people around us to make something happen. Something has to happen now. We got to come to the plan. We got to do something. Chill. And relax. Give proper thought to it. Have a seat. Clear the air, clear the mind. If you need to, clear the room or remove yourself from the room. Because we have to think. We have brains for a reason, but brains cannot operate properly with distractions. You cannot be distracted. You have to be focused. That's the whole purpose of focusing. Look at the camera. You focus on things. When you want to focus on an object, you have to direct the resources of the camera to take in that visual information. If you want to have whatever it is that you are filming, to have all the details proper. Now, if you're not focusing, you may see it, but you're not looking at it. Preparing allows us to look at our goal. Preparing allows us to look at everything needed to get that goal accomplished. When you're driving, I do this. I like to do this. I like to figure out, okay, if I'm out with other people and we may have one place or multiple places to go, I like checking the route out. I don't want to go just like a regular route that gets there, because that could be the route that's chocked full of traffic. Thankfully, we have technologies. Not all technology makes you brain dead, but we can use it to our advantages to prepare. I like to use either Google Maps or Waze. It's pretty good, accurate enough as far as what kind of traffic is happening in whatever route you need to go. Sometimes it'll take me to a route I've never been before because the route I would have taken has traffic. That would add half an hour or more to our travels. And that would also, of course, put a damper on what we're trying to accomplish. I like taking the time to look at all resources, and sometimes people will say we don't have time for that. A lot of times that's not true. A lot of times people are just impatient and they want a result now. I need something to happen now. I need to see movement now. And because we're moving, again, without proper planning, we are wasting time. We are wasting resources. We are wasting man hours, energy that could have gone into focusing on something is now spent doing other things. It's like, hey, I need to get downtown Brooklyn. So as opposed to going to a straight line from A to B, from my current location to my destination, it's like I drive around to Canarsie, then I go through Bushwick, then I go through Coney Island, and then I happen to go through Queens, and then I get to downtown Brooklyn. That's basically what happens when you make motions and start to do things without planning. You have to plan things. You have to prepare things. You must prepare things. It's paramount. You plan things for the day. You plan things for your life. You plan out your budget. Most of us do need help with that. I'm included in that number. Most of us have to learn to plan long term. Is this a career that I want to do? Is this really fitting for me? And if so, do I want to move up the ranks? And what do I do to move up the ranks? Do I want to stay in this general physical geological location doing what I want to do? Do I want to own a home? These are little things that we think of. We have to think of, actually. Excuse me there. But again, going back to me, over a week went past that I did not put out a weekly podcast, and that was disheartening to me. I was disappointed, and it's like, it's not for a lack of resources as well, because I have several locations where I can go if I need to be, for quietness, and I didn't take advantage of that. I didn't prepare for it. And because of that, the lack of preparation beforehand, when the time came to produce, I fell short. And it happens all the time. I'm not saying it happens all the time with me. It happens all the time outside of the world. We take preparation for granted. Again, especially, with how we move in our lives, and especially in the job place, in the place of work. There are people who do plan. There's people who are paid good money to plan. We have people that are project managers. That's their whole MO. That's the whole thing behind project management and everything. Lean Six Sigma is that you look at every little detail, and I don't mind that. It's tiring, but the work you put in, when you have a vision, you have a goal, and you figure out, okay, what are the tools we need to achieve that goal? What resources do we need? How much of that resource we need, how much hours we need, how much money we need, how much buffer time that we may need to get certain things. I like that. I do like that stuff. I'm definitely not a surgeon when it comes to that criteria, but I've taken courses, and those courses they've actually resonated with me to actually figure out how to quantify everything. Because this is coming from experience from being in an environment where you have to produce all the time, where the actual job I liked, it's just the culture didn't really promote the taking the time to really come out with a proper plan and then executing that plan, because usually people just want things to happen. They want it now. Some things you have to take the time to not only plan, but to actually execute it so you could implement it properly. But the thing is, like concrete, once you set it, it's set. Once you have it implemented, you've thought about it properly, you develop it along the way properly, you have a finished product, and you follow through with it, then it's a beautiful thing. Only with preparation, and only with actually being consistent and following through with that preparation. Now I'm going to go forward looking to prepare all the time, because I have actually set up to utilize definitely the more secure resources for me to produce what I want to produce. My goal, share content. I already have the content. I just need to make sure the resources that I made sure I gathered up or was made available to me, I actually use it. It's like having a car. You need to get from point A to point B very quickly, but then you don't use the car. It's time to go, and it's like, oh man, I forgot the car keys. I guess I'm taking the bus, and that could easily, depending on where you go, and take longer. Anyways, it's always a good thing to think ahead, even if it's something sporadic or something spontaneous. Usually, spontaneous is not thinking, but at least, okay, you think of something, doing something, you still plan a little bit. Do I have money for this? Do I have the time for this? What's the quickest route to do what I want to do? Whatever it is, but it's a beautiful thing to plan, because it gives you peace of mind. It gives you a good grounded foundation to stand on and to go forward, because you can't really stand if the ground isn't solid. You can't walk forward or anywhere if the ground is not solid enough. You can't take any steps. It's like you're in a pool or the ocean, and you're like on one of those floating pads or whatever. If you could try to stand up, and if you do manage to stand up, it's going to be kind of hard to move forward. Again, that's another analogy I'm using to represent that it's hard to move forward without a solid plan to stand on. That's exactly what it is. And most of us spend a lot of time on that floating pad trying to run like at a Usain Bolt speed, and we can't. If we planned it through, we could figure out how to move properly the way we need to move. Sometimes we're not going to be able to control all the factors involved, but we could try our best to control how we contribute ourselves, or at least even have an idea of what to put forward in preparing. Just like Scar said, I love that song from The Lion King. Be prepared. Be prepared. That's everything in a nutshell. In the Boy Scouts, I was in the Boy Scouts. Be prepared. That's their motto. That's everything. Military, yes, prepare. And that's one of the very strong life skills or cores of life that I don't think is really emphasized on. I know there are plenty of, mentors, teachers, parents, and other people that drill that in people when they're young. But that is something that definitely needs to be focused on, is prepare yourself. Life will be so much easier. So many people will not waste so much of their years going after a career or even a lifestyle that may be attractive to them at the point. When you think about it and when you actually focus on it, you reflect and say, this is not the best route for us to take or for me to take. It'll be better if I look over here. It'll be better if I study this for now. It'll be better if I save money for whatever I need to do. It'll be better if I move here. When you give yourself clarity, not just wake up every day and just go do stuff and, whatever it is. Long-term planning, preparation, short-term preparation. You have to figure out what you want to do. So when it's time to do it, the blueprint is already there in your head. So then you could go forward and make it tangible. Okay, well, this brings us to the end of my podcast of being prepared. I was inspired by not being prepared myself. I hope that I can inspire you to do better things, to be prepared yourself, because I definitely will be prepared to go forward and produce content every week. So, till next week, walk good, be blessed, everybody. See you later.